Hello, this is my second reflection for Disability in Schools. And for this one, I was thinking about, talking about the battle of ideas. That's sort of the main concept that I noticed throughout the readings, throughout what we were talking in class. It's sort of like a battle of like, who knows best for the child? Um, so it's like, should the parents make all the decisions? Should the school, inform those decisions? Is there any point where the school needs to step in, sort of, and overrides the parent decisions? And sort of the shaky ground that is sort of held up on this foundation. Basically, what's best for the child and who gets to determine that. Um, and it's a very tough question, I think, because it's like, you know, if the schools think that one course of action is better for the child's learning, but the parents don't agree, there's definitely some conflict there. And I think there are several examples that we noticed that in. One of the ones I noticed was through Including Samuel, the documentary we had to watch a few weeks ago. I thought it was a great piece. Honestly, it gave me a lot of insight as to what it's like to raise a child with disabilities and have them integrate into a school. But it wasn't just about Samuel, a young man with cerebral palsy. It's about other students too who are trying to be put into a general education classroom and not sort of segregated off into just their own classes like they were in the past. And for the most part, a lot of these teachers seemed on board with it. They wanted this to happen, but they felt like that they weren't given enough support. They weren't given enough training to actually implement this to its fullest potential. So that's something that obviously schools need to keep in mind, is that it's all well and good to have these students in the classroom, but if the teachers don't have any support, then the students aren't going to get anything out of that, because the teachers won't be able to help them without their proper training. Another documentary that I wanted to mention was the one about Baltimore County schools and when they were first integrating, and we sort of looked at the perspective of two different mothers there. So one of them fought very hard to have her child with Down syndrome to be put into a regular and normal school with all other kids, because she didn't want him to feel left out, because she felt like it would be a disservice to put her son into a specialized school, because he wouldn't get the full experience of what it's like to live in a society with like other people who don't have Down syndrome, who don't have special needs. And there was a lot to be said for that, obviously, where it's like his disability shouldn't force him to make these decisions. He should be free to choose, just like any other American is free to choose what their life's goal, what their life's path will be, and he shouldn't be harmed by that. He should be given the support in order to succeed, just like any other student would. But we saw respect from the other mother who put her child in a specialized school and is going to keep him in that school. And she also had her own, good reasons for doing that, where it's like, she realized how hard it would be for him to integrate in a school with, normal or, students without disabilities, because, there's the problem of bullying. We also, saw a bunch of problems with the other child, being in the school with students who don't have disabilities, about, him not fitting in with them, him, not sort of getting those social cues and hurting other kids. And she was like, it would be worse for him, because he'd be miserable. He wouldn't like it. I mean, he just wouldn't be able to fit in with the instruction. He wouldn't be able to get instruction as well as with the specialized school. She's like, the specialized school would teach him the skills, some of the skills he needs to succeed in life. And you saw in the specialized school, pretty much what they taught them is how to stock shelves, how to work a cash register. And the teacher at that school was like, look, realistically, this is the only jobs that they're going to be able to get. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I can sort of see where they're coming from, where it's like, vocational skills are important to teach. I think they're important to teach anybody, in case, they want to get these jobs out of school, get some money while in school. So as we can see there, there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for every parent, and every parent obviously is going to have the choice as to which school, as to which setting is going to be more successful for their child, at least until the child gets a say into it. But it really is a tough thing. Again, just like most things with disability in schools, it's a balancing act, trying to please the most people, but there are obviously some people who don't fit into who don't really want to integrate into the system, want to stay outside the system, and there's always an act to be played there. Um, and then something else I wanted to mention was a real life example that I saw through working at West Arundel High School. Is there's this girl in my sixth grade economics class. Um, she has a learning disability. She has an IEP, and the first assignment that my co-teacher, Mr. Armstrong, makes all the students do, regardless of whether it's regular econ, AP econ, participation government class. He makes all the students write a short, like 2 minute speech about themselves and give it in class to introduce themselves to the rest of the class. And I think it's a really great activity because it helps, if these students don't know each other from the start, sort of introduce themselves to their classmates, and it helps build some interclass relationships. Um, but this one girl, apparently part of her disabilities, she gets very, very anxious when talking in front of other people, or like talking to a big group of people, which is understandable. I mean, most people do that. So her mother called up the school and asked that she be exempt from this assignment. And Mr. Armstrong said no, that she can't be exempt from the assignment, and apparently he was threatened to get sued. But he had a sit down meeting with her, the social studies curriculum advisor, the mother, the student, and they sort of worked out a plan where the student should write the speech, but she wouldn't give it in front of the whole class. She'd just give it in front of myself, Mr. Armstrong, and the teacher's aide, Miss McCarthy. And she did the speech, and it was a good speech. So it was, proven that she was able to do it. She just had to do it in a different setting, which was fine. But after that week, I didn't see the girl in class anymore, so I asked Mr. Armstrong what was going on. Turns out that she was pulled out of school, and right now she is getting tutoring help at a learning center down the street from the high school, because her mother doesn't want her going to public school anymore. She wants her going to a specialized school for students with special needs for $45K a year, and she wants the district to pay for it. And Mr. Armstrong says that's a shame, that she has the skills necessary to succeed in the class, and it's just her mother that's sort of holding her back. So again, that's a real life example of where the schools and the parents are sort of in disagreement with what's best for the student. And like Mr. Armstrong said, he's like, ultimately the mother is going to win out in the end, that the school is going to cave and do what she wants, which hopefully the student will be able to succeed in the future, and hopefully the mother isn't holding back her success. But I guess only time will tell. So that's it.